Parents of Reddit, what's the worst thing you've seen and confiscated from your child? I had to take an axe off my 6-year-old daughter because she was fed up with having 2 brothers and wanted to get rid of one so she could have a sister. She's now 32 and hates me reminding her about it. When my brother was a baby, he and our mom were playing outside when she got a call. She left to answer the phone, and when she returned, my bro had taken his diaper off and was playing in it. Horrified, my mom went to get him, and he grabbed a handful of his poop, held it up to her and proclaimed "Muhammad." Later on, when he was 6 or 7, he found a rubber bracelet in the road. He put it on and was so proud of his new bracelet. He wore that thing for half a day until he had to use the bathroom. So he went inside. Remembering his newfound piece of jewelry, he went to show my mom, who immediately recognized what it was. Someone driving down our street had thrown a used condom onto the road that my brother found after it had been run over a few times. My car keys, a USB charger, and some change in my 2-year-old's little backpack. She was planning an escape, I guess. I couldn't drive my car for a week and had been just about to tow it to the dealer to have a key made. It wasn't in my kid's possession yet, but one of the neighbor kids brought over juice for everyone. They were Segram's wine coolers. The 6-year-old had already had one. Turns out their mom bought them for them thinking they were juice, and she was so embarrassed. They're from another country and the box it came in really makes it look like juice. When my eldest was tiny and in the put all the things in my mouth stage, we went to a park and he was constantly putting the larger wood chips in his mouth. I put him on a large swing thing he could walk on. There were a couple wood chips and of course he beelined it. When he saw them, I turned the wheel, and when he got back to me, I fished the wood chip out. It was poop. My 8-year-old's BO in some Roblox game said she was 19 and single. I know nothing of Roblox. My stepdaughter, 9, had a random messaging app at one point and was catfishing some 30-year-old with photos of some girl she found on Google and was saying she was 16. Her mom did basically nothing. So I had a long talk about predators and dangerous people online with her and my 2 kids. I didn't really spare any details of some more minor horror stories, but it worked. My own daughter, who is the same age, came to me last month about someone on a game that was being weird and how she blocked the person as soon as she felt uncomfortable, and I was so proud. Not my kid, my student. 2nd grader brought a vibrator to show and tell to give everyone back rubs. The boys immediately recognized that it was a phallic, but the girls pushed to be first for the massages. I had to snatch it before it happened and call the mom to come pick it up. I have never seen someone so embarrassed, even though I was completely sympathetic to her. Not me, but my aunt tried to push my dad's stroller off the Grand Canyon when they were visiting as little kids. He was a baby and she was like 6 to 7, I think. Grandpa caught the stroller in time. Needless to say, I'm very happy she was not successful. On the other side of my family, my grandma, who was the middle child, decided she wasn't getting enough attention when she was about 10. So the next time she'd been left home alone, she burned their house down. I don't think she managed to torch the entire thing, maybe just about half. My son, around 6 or 8, had a toy gun and holster, cowboy style. We weren't even thinking about it. Pre-911, we were boarding a flight home, and they told him he couldn't take it on the airplane. Kids were already aware the flight home was a disaster with delays due to weather and rescheduled flights and whatnot. So I think he realized today sucked and this was just one more thing to suck it up. He was a pouty brave champ and surrendered it to the bin of other contraband. No crying. I still think of it as one of those moments when he grew up a bit. My young son was just crawling, and one time I saw he had something in his mouth. He was reluctant to give it up, but I sideswiped his mouth just like on a puppy. Finally spat it out, a large shard of glass. Absolutely no idea where it came from or where he got it. Not my kid, but a hell of a story. I worked at a residential facility, specifically with 15, 18-year-old boys with emotional, behavioral, or intellectual struggles. We would give them cups of shampoo to shower each morning. One boy had a stockpile on his windowsill, so I went to throw them away. While asking him why he had so much soap, he smiled at me mischievously and goes, "Miss Kismakus, that isn't soap." I was mad at my mom for a long time for confiscating a favorite toy of mine that I built when I was 12. It consisted of a tumble drying motor I took out of an old washing machine and built a little wooden stand for. Then I attached a bicycle chain to the shaft and revved it to 1000 RPM and just threw anything I could get my hands on into the chain of death to watch it disintegrate. My mom was so used to me doing stuff like that she did not even think about it until my uncle came for Christmas and freaked out how I spend my free time. The worst things were the things we missed with our youngest daughter. Things like 3-day dead frogs or lizards in her pants pockets, usually found when checking pockets before laundering. A crown of a tooth from an unknown origin. Was looking at my daughter's rock collection with her that she had in a box in her room and realized I was holding some rando tooth in my hand lol. My daughter was 7 over the summer and came to me with litter she had picked up. It was a tampon applicator. A few weeks later, she picked up another piece of trash in a parking lot to throw away once we got into a store. Cigarette container wrapping. Now I don't know if I dissuade picking up litter or just give my good Samaritan gloves to keep on her. Former child here. My brother and I were gifted a crazy medieval weapon by a neighbor when we were 9/10 years old. It's a mace with a spike on one end, with 3 chains coming out the other end with steel spiked balls at the end of each chain. My mom found it a couple years later after we left it out and claimed to have thrown it away. 25 years later she moved houses and guess what we found? The crazy spiked medieval weapon. I still have, hoping to pass it down to a future generation someday. Child here, but this is a story my mom told me when I was very little, younger than 4. We lived in a part of the US that had little lizards running wild, geckos, I think. They were the ones that could detach their tails, so me, being the 2-year-old I was, would try to catch the lizards to hold them. But I usually caught them by the tail and then the tail detached and they ran away. So, of course, I kept the tails I collected in a box under my bed. Mom eventually found it because of the smell. Not a parent but me, lol. I finished a book and did some doodling in elementary. The vice principal, who had no say so, wrote me up, took the book and punished me, and I kid you not wrote on the paper, "I caught Rachel doing this in class." My mom was legitimately confused, and when I explained she wasn't mad, just confused. God, people suck. My son was 2, and I went to put away clothes and found knives all over his room, 9 in total from the kitchen and the biggest ones. When asked why he was doing this, he said that he needed them for the people that were watching him at night. There was also the time my kid came in and woke me up with a big knife right in my face. I screamed and snatched it from him and freaked. He apparently got it to kill a mouse that he caught and wanted me to help him. We had to make a huge ordeal to let the mouse go outside. I walked in on an older child exposing himself to my son, who was at the time almost 7. I have seen some terrible stuff in my day. That was a moment of pure disgust, rage, and self-control. To not absolutely strangle the older child. Yes, it was all addressed properly. I have 3 boys and nothing, but a very close friend of mine has 2 daughters, 6 and 12. They are being raised in a upper middle class suburban lifestyle. Go to church on Sundays. Mom is a stay-at-home parent. Very nice and very outgoing family. My buddy's wife was doing laundry and found a dildo under their 11-year-old's mattress. She confronted her about it immediately when she picked her up for school. Turns out that the nice upstanding all-girl Catholic school she goes to is where she got it. Apparently all the girls that age are doing that. My jaw was dropped the entire time I'm hearing my buddy tell me those. Wow. And I understand how a lot of people can be biased about this. Everyone is different and many people come from different walks of life. I guess it's a difficult pill to swallow for me as well as my buddy and his wife. My wife was shocked too. I was still very much a child at 11. I was very innocent. Fast forward 25 years and it's very important to us that we keep our children innocent as long as possible. As a member of Gen Z, I sound like a damn boomer, but many problems are caused by unmonitored electronic usage and kids are being exposed to inappropriate and violent content. I don't entirely blame the parents, but they should take extra measures so that their kids are safe in the internet. But these days, it's getting harder to control what kids are seeing on there. When I was younger, I did a pretty good job at hiding my watch history and such from my parents. And I know from one perspective that it shouldn't be too easy to monitor your kids' content. Now, I highly regret many of the things I was exposed to at such a young age.